log in. LP Army will teach you the way to be LP warrior starting this day. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul, and now we sing our song. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul, and now we sing our song. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Thereupon we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Spot, could ask, use them all. Winning's the task, we heed the call. Bootcamp, join our ranks so tight. Listen to the Goose Gang and gain your might. We will print and we will earn. Points to gain as tokens burn. Join the ranks of the brave and bold. Story of the LP Army told. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic feast, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Thereupon we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rug and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Make your position and join the pool. Post your wins with Alex's tool. LP Army, we fight to win. Your journey is about to begin. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Thereupon we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rut and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Oh.
Right on, right on. Hell yeah, dude. So we kick it off boot camp. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today we are gonna rock on. Yes, I did write that song. It's on Suno. But that's not what the point is of this. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get right into the party here. Let's see. There we go. We'll just share the screen here. Welcome to the February Meteora LP Army Bootcamp. This is the 12th one in English that we have done. And yeah, we're going to get rocking. Okay, so the alpha here, the goal here is to help you up your LP game. We're going to start at close to the beginning. This course is for everybody from the beginner to a little bit more experience. So we'll go over some basics before we can really get deep into this. If you're here, we're already assuming you have some small grasp of the words like market maker and DeFi. You should already know what it means to trade crypto on the market and how. And so here's our little disclaimer. LP and crypto are a little bit like gambling. Don't start with money you can't afford to lose. Figure out how much money you're simply willing to throw out a window, and that's how much you start with. You shouldn't be risking your ability to live. We're not giving you financial advice. And as always, do your own research. And our prerequisites. Start small. It doesn't take a lot to get started. Be prepared to lose. In fact, you're encouraged to, kind of lose, because that's how you're going to learn. Consider any losses to be the tuition, if you will, for your LP training. And if you win, don't go in all yet. Maybe you got lucky. Wait until you've lost and you learn from it. Failure is one of my favorite teachers. As a weightlifter, I'll tell you, failure is the path to success. While it can feel bad, that's how you're going to gain. So, and then when you're consistently winning, then you can progressively increase your investment sizes. So little instructor introduction. I am Heavy Metal Cook. Most of you may know me. This is what I do. I volunteer in quite a few things. Been involved with crypto for a little while. Love cooking, weightlifting, heavy metal, and of course, Meteora. But enough about me. We have some other instructors here with us today. We've got Geek Lad and Photon Magic and Magica. They're here to help answer questions in the chat for you. We appreciate these guys showing up and helping us out. So please use the chat feature for questions, but keep them to the point. These guys are going to help answer those questions in the chat. While doing the exercises, we may do some demos that we may ask you to follow along. It's not required to graduate. We just, if this is, especially if this is new to you, you might try and follow along if you're unfamiliar with what we're doing. We do welcome feedback. While we can't incorporate anything and everything into this course that there is to ever know, we welcome your suggestions, and feel free to share with that in Discord. I will make a point now that you must complete both days of this course in order to graduate and get the LP Army private role. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah, and I actually added a few questions. There's a little quiz at the end today. We'll get to that. We'll share this later too. This is not the form. This is additional documentation and reading resources for you. You scan that QR code. If you can't do that on your phone, maybe use Google Lens. Again, we will share it again later. So it's just extra information for you. Links to stuff that explains things in deeper detail. Okay. So I'm going to move on again. We'll share that later. So this is what you should know by the end of today. We'll cover these areas and functions available on Meteora, as well as a few basic third-party tools. We'll give you a full tour of the platform and explain as many of its functions and features as possible. So we'll start with a few terminology and definitions. You may know some of these things, but it's important that we cover it for all. We will, of course, talk about the point systems and all that, and hopefully we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers at the end. And here we go. Actually, and someone asked a question, is this the same link as older records, the resources for Bootcamp? No, in fact, I just updated it today. So it's a new version. A lot of the information is the same, but I've just added some additional stuff to it. Pasting the link here, you wouldn't be able to click on it. We'll share it again. So here we go. Market making on the blockchain. So AMMs are DeFi products that allow anyone to become a market maker on a blockchain. This is a protocol or platform where the market making is taking place. Liquidity provider or LP refers to the person or the firm that is providing liquidity through the AMM. When traders swap through AMMs, they pay fees to the liquidity providers. This is all managed automatically by smart contracts on the blockchain, and it is non-custodial. Liquidity providers in AMMs profit from earning fees on the liquidity they provide in liquidity pools. There are many different AMM protocols on different blockchains, Ethereum and other EVM blockchains. There's Uniswap, SushiSwap, PancakeSwap, Trader Joe, and so on. Of course, Solana has Meteora, Orca, Radium, Saber, and others. LP can stand for liquidity pool. You may also see the term LPing, which means to provide liquidity, and you should be able to figure out that context pretty easily. A CLMM stands for Concentrated Liquidity Market Maker, and it allows liquidity providers to concentrate their liquidity within a certain price range. Concentrated liquidity helps LPs earn more fees by specifying a price range in which liquidity will be provided. It also helps traders because it will reduce the price impact of their trades in the liquidity pools. Uniswap v3 was the first to introduce this concept on the Ethereum chain. Radium and Orca on Solana, they operate CLMMs. And here's some graphical examples here. In a standard AMM, liquidity is spread out over the entire range, putting only a small amount within the current price range, leaving the rest out here on the edges to be idle. It does have the advantage of not requiring any maintenance by the liquidity provider, but you earn less fees per dollar. A CLMM style pool allows the liquidity provider to put more or all of their tokens at or near the current trading price and none or much less on the fringes. This allows you to generate more in fees. It does, however, have the disadvantage of missing out on any fees when the price of the token swings higher or lower than your specified range. You are more likely to experience what I call impermanent loss when all of your tokens have been swapped for the other and you are out of range. When you withdraw out of range, those losses become permanent. So a few things. LPing is not staking. Do not be surprised when you deposit into a pool and tokens get swapped for the other. This is the nature of it. In one sense, you are trading, but not exactly. You are willing to swap back and forth from one token to another, and you may even hope to sell all of one token for the other or not. So in like produce, just like produce can go rotten, demand for volume for tokens can drop very quickly. Like meme coins, they're like produce, and you don't want to be holding them when they go rotten or the price dumps. But there may be other tokens like projects or blue chips that you don't mind holding them. So, that's when it's different. So it's going to depend on what you want to LP, what your risk is, that kind of thing. Okay, so now we're going to give you a little tour of, let's see here, let's pull this up. We'll go. Okay, so first I'm going to show you vaults. Here I am at app.meteora.ag. I'm just going to show you the vaults here. So the vaults, you can earn lending yield on these tokens by depositing into here. It's not something that I actually recommend, but the lending is used in some of these protocol calls like Camino, save, so on, margin phi. So these things, you can earn yield on this, but I don't actually recommend that you deposit here. There's another way to earn. In addition to this, you don't earn points on any deposits within here. If you wanted to, you could, but again, it wouldn't. It'll show you things like the API performance on these. You can look at that if you'd like, but these are vaults. How much is in there and how much is earned? But what we really want to look at today first are dynamic pools. So the dynamic pools are like a traditional AMM. And you can see here, you can search for any token that you'd like. You'll see the pairs, you'll see the yield, how much volume has been happening in the last 24 hours, how much TVL is in that pool, and the different types here, like this particular one, Virtual Sol. It's a dynamic pool and it's volatile. Sol MSol, it's considered a stable pair because it's a liquid staking token paired with Sol, and liquid staking tokens move together in price with Sol. Obviously, USDC, USDT is a stable pair. And this one actually is a concentrated pool. We'll get into, actually, let's go ahead and just look into this one right here. So in here, you can see how much TVL is in there, how much is permanently locked, which you don't want to do that. It's not 50-50. It's going to be some percentage, and it depends on trading that's been happening within the pool, the two tokens. You can see the current price, the virtual price, and this is a little bit more complicated to explain. Above 1 is good. In the Bootcamp resources, there's a links that dig into that. It takes too long to explain. It's a bunch of math. But here you'll see the 24-hour volume. So this one in the last 24 hours, over $17 million has run through here. The 24-hour fee. So this how much this pool has generated in fees for you, the liquidity provider, in the last 24 hours. Now, 24-hour yield. This is what's so awesome about the dynamic pools. If the dynamic pool has one or more tokens that are in the vaults, like here, these two tokens, they're both in the vault, you're going to be earning yield, lending yield off of that in addition to the fees. So it's like you're getting some of both out of it, and that's really awesome. The liquidity provider fee, this is how much you are earning on trades that come through. Protocol fee, this is how much Meteora collects. In this specific pool, the protocol fee is 0. And then there's something else called the AMP or AMP, and that is also a very long explanation. Please refer to the Bootcamp resources for all of that fun math. So yeah, that's what all those things are. Some dynamic pools do have a protocol fee. It's mostly ones that are paired with memes or something like that. And of course, you have these pool chart. You can click on any one of these and it will take you to the chart for this specific pool pair. Depending on the tool, like GMGN, it gives you all, and these will give you more specific to the pool. But let's go ahead and actually, yeah, let's go ahead and make a deposit here. So we can see here that we have nothing in here, and in dynamic pools, you need to make a balanced deposit. If you don't, it's going to tell you that you could lose money. It will swap tokens to match the ratio here. So we can see here, if I do a max, I've got $21 in USDC. I do a max here, it's going to want to deposit $11.23 of USDT to match the ratios here. So if you need to, you can use this handy Jupiter swap button. If you need to turn some Sol into one of these tokens, you can do that. It is Jupiter swap. This swap function here, it just trades one token for the other. This is within the pool. You need to be mindful that this is not going through Jupiter, so you may or may not be getting the best price whenever you use this. Every pool has this function. You're literally trading within the pool. So be mindful if you decide to go that route. But anyway, I'm going to just make a little deposit here. $21 USDC and $11 USDT. And we'll make that deposit and approve it. And now it is in there, and you can see that I have $32.26 in here. Now you'll notice that there's no way to claim fees off of this. And that's because any fees you earn are automatically compounded back into the pool. That's how that works. You do receive a LP token for this. It's like a receipt. You'll see it in your wallet. It'll be called Meteora LP. You'll see that token. It's that's your receipt. If you lose that, if you burn that, you can't withdraw your liquidity. You're throwing away your money. So don't do that. If you want to know how much you've earned, basically what you need to do is, after you deposit, make a note of how much money is in here, and then compare that to what you can withdraw. I'm going to leave this money in here for now, and move on for a moment. I'm going to show you farms. Now, actually, let me go this way. Pools with farms. So there are some pools that have farms, not all. And the farm is just a way for you to earn additional rewards on top of any fees. They don't earn Met points or anything like that, but it's just like bonus tokens. I'm going to show you this one particular one, Sol Hades. We're not going to make a deposit in there, but I just want to show it to you. So like I explained earlier, you can see all these things. This particular pool does have liquidity or the protocol fee. On dynamic pools, it's 20% of that fee. So you could see right there. Now here is the direct link to this farm. So we're going to click that. And here we are. We can see that this farm, if you were to deposit into this farm or deposit into the, you have to deposit into the pool, and then you would deposit your LP token into this pool. And then if there are rewards attached to this pool, you'll be earning some, and it's like a weekly rewards. It all depends on how big of your deposit is. That's what you're getting. So this is what you're looking for, weekly rewards, and it'll show you the APY on that. You'll notice that a whole bunch of these do not have weekly rewards. So depositing into, say, the Sol VSOL farm, you're not going to earn anything because there are no rewards for it to receive. it's up to the individual token projects to fill these farms. It's not Meteora. They don't provide the tokens. It's the projects themselves. So if there's nothing, then that means that this particular token project has chosen not to refill that at this time. But that's what that is. It's not a commonly used thing, but show it to you anyway. Okay. So that's that. Actually, I'm going to leave that money in there for now. Let's switch back to the StreamYard. Let's see. So this question here, fees earned on dynamic pools. Yes, they count towards points. We will talk about points. So yeah. Does Meteora have an Android app? No. There is no official Meteora app. Only deposit to farms that provide rewards, basically. Right. If you deposit into a farm that doesn't have rewards, you are doing nothing. You're not getting anything out of that. Okay. All right. So let me stop that and move on to back to here. Let's see if I missed anything. No. Okay. So next up, we're going to talk about impermanent and divergent loss. This is a very complicated topic. We're going to touch on it. In your bootcamp resources, there's several links explaining this in a lot more detail. It involves some Greek math, Greek letters and math that we're not going to go into all that. But basically, when you provide liquidity, traders are swapping both of your assets back and forth through a liquidity pool. When this happens, the price changes and it changes the allocation of your assets within the pool. Basically, this means you will have more of one asset and less of the other. Frequently, you'll hear this called impermanent loss. It's more accurately called divergent loss. This happens when the relative price between your deposited assets changes compared to when first deposited. This is the nature of LP, and it's guaranteed to happen. In other words, you lost more than if you had simply held, or that you gained less than you could have just holding. The bigger the change, the more you will experience divergence loss, but this does not necessarily mean your LP position has lost value. Assets that remain relatively stable with very small price fluctuations are less subject to divergence loss, such as USDC and USDT, which typically stay in an extremely tight price range. Stable coin pools are significantly less risky when it comes to divergent loss. But the goal of successful LPing is to generate sufficient fees to overcome these losses. If you're able to close your position and then end up with more of both tokens than you started with, then you've probably achieved the goal. And this is a common chart that you'll see shown to explain divergent or impermanent loss out there. Like I said, it goes into, you can go down a rabbit hole understanding the math of that. I refer to the bootcamp resources on that. We're going to talk more about this in practice here in a little while. But here's an example. This position started with about 40 USDC and about 0.25 SOL. And then you can see after how it ended up. This position lost 0.05 Sol, but it gained $9.50 USDC. The fees earned is about 6 cents. The initial value was 81.60. The ending value 81.64. A divergence of a positive 24 cents USDC. So the total profit of fees and divergence is 30 cents. So I know that can, divergence, impertinent loss, it can be confusing and it can sound scary, especially if you're new and knowing the fact that it's basically guaranteed to happen when you provide liquidity anywhere. But you're always hoping to collect enough fees to not only overcome this divergent loss, but actually profit. That's the name of the game. Okay, handful more definitions. Most of you probably already know these. TVL, volume, and volatility. Pay attention to these terms. You should know what these are. How much? I'm not going to read from the slides here, but someone's asked a question here. You are in the course right now, and we will explain everything, how to pass. We'll get there. But you're in it. Okay, a few more definitions. When you click a button to perform a swap through AMMs, by the time you click that button and your request is received on the blockchain by the blockchain validator and processed, the price may be different than it was when you click the button. This is known as slippage. When you swap through an AMM, you are causing the mix of assets in the pool to shift and the price of the asset to change. If the amount of liquidity in the pool is high relative to your swap, then your swap will have little price impact. If you swap through a small pool that does not have a lot of liquidity relative to your swap will have high price impact and cause the price to change a lot more. Market cap, and sometimes you hear it called MC or MCAP, is calculated simply by the total number of tokens by the current price. I see someone's asking questions in Russian. We don't have any instructors here with us today that can answer your questions in Russian. I am sorry. Okay. So let's check on our pool using the handy portfolio. So let's go back to our here. I'm going to go to our portfolio. And I'm going to actually change wallets here. Show a different wallet. It gives a better showing of all of this in here. So you see some dynamic pools, what the deposit amounts are in, what they're earning, all this neat stuff. And then here in a DLMM, you will see things that are deposited. You can see here, this particular ones are out of range. This one's in range. Any unclaimed fees that you have. These are kind of new features, and I love this, that they're showing all of this information here. The TVL, the 24-hour volume, all this great stuff, current price. And of course, you can go into them and all your neat stuff there. But that is the portfolio. It's very handy. You do searches. You can say, just show me this. Just show me the DLMM. Love all these things. It's good stuff. Simple, right? Okay. Let's go back to where we were. We were here. Clickety click. Okay. So we kind of already did this. We LP'd into the USDC, USDT dynamic pool. Hopefully you guys all followed me with that. Let's see, we already did all this. Just looking over my notes here. Yep, we already did all that. So here's a question. Could you briefly explain the difference of TVL and MC? So the TVL in this particular example, TVL is the total value locked in a specific pool. So, or it could be it could also refer to how much you've deposited, but that's specific to the pool. Market cap is all of them combined. It's like all of it out there together. So this is a complicated question or a complicated answer. Why some show a tiny amount of TVL but a huge amount of volume? What causes such volume to route through such a small TVL pool and give such a huge yield? Well, so one thing that can happen is it can show a bunch of volume, but if people have removed their liquidity recently, then it's going to show a smaller TVL versus the volume that's run through there. It's also possible that it's just a really good pool and that's where it's routing. Of course, you have to have enough TVL in a pool for trades to hit it. But if it's, and we'll talk about this, lower bin step, low fees, these things can all add to those things. So I'm going to leave some of these other questions to our instructors here. So I'm going to keep moving. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the DLMM. In one sense, this is similar to other concentrated liquidity market makers, but it offers additional features and advancements. It's these additional features that give you, the LP provider, the advantage to be more profitable over other CLMM type products. Liquidity is placed in bins, which we'll talk about that next. We'll also go over these other additional features as we go along, such as the zero slippage, different strategies, dynamic fees, all these great things. So what's a bin? A bin, in the most simplest terms, is a container that holds liquidity. It can contain an infinite amount of any one or two tokens or none at all. Only one bin can be active at a time, and only the active bin can have both assets, like in this particular example. Bins are set at specific price points, and those price points don't change. The range of price that a bin covers depends on its width. The difference between these price points is known as the bin step. And swaps that occur within a specific single bin, there's no slippage. And that's great for the trader, which means it's also great for you, because if Jupiter says, okay, there's no slippage for this trade over here on this pool, it's more likely to send the trade there. The bin steps is what defines the width of the bins. In other words, the difference in price between one bin and the next, and is defined by basis points. In our example here of a 50 bin step, we calculate by multiplying the price by 1.0050. If we're a 200 bin step, we would use 1.02. A one bin step would be 1.0001. So you can see here the price of IO right here, or the 0.1231. And then the next bin over, we multiplied that by 1.0050. It brings us to 0.01237. So that's the difference here. So these pools can have any of these bin steps, but they're limited to specific base fees. So like, for example, you can see here at the top, a 0.01 base fee pool can only have these bin steps. And like for that one, this is just an example of a few. But the smaller the base fee, the smaller the bin steps, more liquidity is concentrated in a smaller price range. A larger base fee means larger bin steps. Liquidity can be spread out to cover a larger price range. Now, I did include some more information about bin steps and bins in the Bootcamp documentation that we shared earlier, and we will share again. So feel free to refer to that at any time for more explanation on bin steps. It does trip people up, but it's really bins is what's holding the liquidity, and the bin step is the difference in price between one bin to another. And the width of that bin defines how much of a price range it covers. So I borrowed some of these from Chief. He's one of our great instructors that we have here. Excuse me. So a lower bin step means these price points are closer together. This allows for more frequent trades because the price can move smoothly and continuously through the bins. So more frequent trades means more opportunities to earn fees. Each trade generates a small fee for liquidity providers. So more trades, that means more fees for you. Lower bin steps pools provide a smoother experience for the traders too. They face smaller price changes between the trades, making trading more predictable and attractive. And it's why low bin step pools tend to get favored by Jupiter. It's not the answer for everything, but you can get more out of this versus these waters. And you can see here, this particular one, we're setting up, we've got a price range of 169 to 170. In this high bin step pool, you can see that it's divided up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bins versus this low bin step pool. It's covering a whole bunch. It's covering the same price range, but with a lot more bins. Now, dynamic fees. Dynamic fees are triggered when the price is dynamic. I know that's a fun way to say it. The more bins it moves across to get from price A to price B, the higher the dynamic fee. This is why choosing a low bin step can be important, but again, it's not always the correct answer. And this large bin step can offer you convenience, and it's used for more volatile tokens sometimes. You can still cover the same range with the same capital in a small bin step pool. It'll just be split up across multiple positions and divided into smaller bins. So let's see. Okay, let me get back to this. I want to talk about dynamic fees just for a minute. The dynamic fee, and I'll talk about it more when we demo it. The dynamic fee is triggered by the volatility of the token. And the volatility is the up and down of a token. So it's, if a token is going up and down a lot, then it's more volatile. If a token is just up only or down only, or it's not moving up and down very much, then it's not as volatile. The more volatile it is, the higher the dynamic fee goes, which means more money for you. It helps offset those impermanent losses. Excuse me just a minute. Okay. So now we're going to talk about strategies. One of the main advantages of the DLMM over other CLMMs is the ability to shape your liquidity with these strategies. You can use one strategy or even combine these strategies to shape your liquidity to suit you and your goals for any particular pair. Such as spot. This is pretty standard. It's like any, it's just like using a CLMM. It works for just about anything out there. You can always use spot, especially if you're not sure. It's great to pair as well. Curve is for really concentrating, and this is probably the least used of all the strategies. You're going to see it used the most in stable pairs where the difference in price between the two is not very high, where they don't diverge from each other very much. A perfect example is USDC, USDT. Those tend to stay right at about $1. So you're going to want to focus all of your liquidity in a curve right around that price point. Out here on the fringes, there's not so much liquidity, so it's you're not wasting as much. You're putting it all here. And then, of course, the bid ask can be used for DCA or dollar cost averaging. If you're wanting to, I mean, obviously, we all know that the name of the game when you're trading is buy low, sell high, right? So in this particular one, as the price goes down, you're buying more of the token at lower prices. And as it pumps, you're selling more of the token at higher prices. This is a very common and favorite strategy of a lot of people. And a lot of times you'll see it combined with others. We're actually going to show that right here. Here's a stack strategy of spot and curve. So you're focusing some liquidity right here. Say you think Sol USDC is going to be trading a lot right here. So you will put it, you want some in a curve. But you know what? Maybe it's going to move out here to the sides. Maybe it's going to move out here a little bit. You don't know. Well, okay, we still want to collect some fees while we're out there. So we mix a spot, or you lay down a layer of spot and then put your curve on top. Here's an example of spot and bid ask. Well, there's other examples of this that are different. This particular one, Sol and Or, this one started out as one-sided, and we'll explain that. But as we earned fees on the Or, put them in to the pool, I compounded them into the pool, into a bid ask instead of spot, because I wanted to sell that Or and I wanted to sell more of it at a higher price than I can at a lower. Okay, so here's our goals. To start LPing, you have to hold one or both of the assets. So you need to aim to sell what you bought at a profit once it is diverged in your favor from your entry. However, unlike regular trading, you earn fees. You can use two methods here: achieve positive return from divergence loss, or achieve a positive return from fees, or both. Sometimes you can earn crazy fees, but sell what you bought the entry at a loss, but still achieve a profit. You really need to get a lot of fees for that to happen. Sometimes that position moves out of range in the positive. So now you've sold what you bought at a profit and earned fees. This is what a lot of guys who do this are hoping for, especially if you're trading memes. So the DLMM, it's a tool to use it to manage your risk according to your risk appetite. Sometimes it's better to LP, sometimes it's better to buy and hold. One is more risky but has more upside. One will mitigate your losses. It's okay. All right. So positive return from fees. This is where you are like, you can be in permanent loss here, or like say it's gone out of range. Down below, we talked about this. You want to try and earn more fees than your losses. That's your profit. This is where people get mixed up sometimes. I see it says, well, I earned 10% of fees, but your impermanent loss was 20%. So you didn't profit, you lost 10%. If you earned, say, $10 in fees and you had a divergence loss of $5, then you've offset your losses by $5. Your profit is $5. So let's see, moving on. And of course, the positive divergence loss. This is basically the token pumped, So like here, this particular pool sold NOS. All my NOS sold for SOL. It pumped out of range and I win, right? Okay. All right. Something else I want to point out here that you're going to see on pools, and we'll show it to you in a little bit more, but this is something to be wary of. You may see the 24-hour fee over TVL, and it's the yield by calculate the yield for the pool by calculating the fees generated in the past 24 hours divided by the total value locked. It's one factor you can use to determine whether or not you might be interested in providing the pool. However, you have to take this information with a grain of salt. The TVL in pools is constantly changing, and liquidity providers enter and exit the pool. So the denominator in this metric is changing all the time, while the value of the fees in the past 24 hours doesn't. It means that it could be overstated or understated in the past 24 hours. So like here, whales, they generated a lot of fees and they exited the pool. So this number shot way up. And if you join the pool at that time, expecting to have that much in fees, you're probably going to be sad, disappointed. This is where it can be understated. If the whale just entered a pool, the TVL will be higher than it was before they entered, and the fees generated in the past 24 hours are done with less TVL. So now it looks like the pool is yielding less. So I don't really use that metric a whole lot because it can be impacted so much. Okay, so now it's time for a tour of the DLMM. Let me just look at some questions here.
There was a good one about Alex was asking about the best rebalancing strategy. And that's a really great question. You know, it's hard to say which is best, but you can try different rebalancing strategies and see what works best for you. A lot of people will do a 50-50 rebalance. So your position goes out of range and you'll swap half of the liquidity for the other token, and then open up a new position, you know, right in the middle of the range. Um, one thing that I've been doing lately is doing a 20% rebalance. So if the token pumps, I'll take, and I'm left with Sol. I'll take 20% of the original position, swap it for the other token, and then rebalance. What's really nice is that new slider feature is freaking awesome for that kind of thing, because you can just pull the slider up and then you've got a nice even spot position. So really good question.
Yep. Someone asked this. I will mention this again later. After the bootcamp session is over, we will get on to the Meteora Discord. We'll start up the town hall, and we'll be taking questions, and we can do some demos there. So we'll do that then. That's how we'll do it. Okay. So now for the DLMM tour. Okay, so here we are, the DLMM. We're going to find some pools. You can have it suggest pools that maybe you're holding some of these tokens. It'll make a suggestion for things for you to try. Of course, you can type in the name of anyone that you'd like. Try and find it if it exists. And of course, you can put in the contract address of any particular one that you're looking for. It's not a bad idea that if you know the contract address, that you use that to be absolutely certain, because there can be fake tokens in here. Someone can totally make a fake Trump coin, and if you LP it, you might get rugged, or the token might be frozen and you can't sell it. There could be a lot of things. So using the CA is not a bad idea. We are going to go with, for the moment, we're going to search for USDC, USDT. And we'll see here, there's 47 pools. You can see here, like this, you can see the little yellow triangle here. That means on some of these, you need to be cautious of these. These are probably fake tokens, like I just mentioned. So verify before you get into it. You'll see the TVL for all 47 pools in this particular one here, and the daily volume, and that. We're going to expand that, and it's going to show me just the top 3 recommended pools. Again, you see these things here. Make a selection. Of course, you can do show all. And something that I'd like to caution people about is sometimes they get into a pool and they're like, man, I want to get into this one right here. 100 bin steps, 2% fee. That sounds awesome. Well, it might sound awesome, but you notice here, there's $84,000 sitting in this pool, and there's been 0 fees generated. This pool is getting $0. It's not getting any trades. This is not a good pool. So what are we looking for? We're looking for, let's see, there's a lot of TVL in here. There's a lot of volume in here. You can make choices. You can decide, oh, I would like 1 bin step. That's a small difference in price range. Or you go with something a little wider if you're looking for something that's a little bit less risky. In this particular case, there's no reason to choose something else but one of these. So we see here, now this is not a volatile token, so the dynamic fee is only 0.01%. It's never going to be more than that. Actually, let me withdraw here. If you had a deposit in the dynamic pool, go into your portfolio and let's withdraw this from the dynamic pool. Okay. Going back into here, bin step 1.01% fee. So here again, we see all these things, and you can check right here. You click this button, you can copy that contract address. You can check it out on SoulScan. You can use rug check. So we'll do a rug check on this one. It all looks good. So that's awesome. You can go and check the bubble maps on this. This is a great tool. We'll talk about it more tomorrow, about checking out the distribution of this particular token. We'll talk about that more later tomorrow. We see here our base fee. That's the minimum amount that you, the liquidity provider, will earn. The max fee, it's always 10%. That's the highest it can ever go. And that's in reference to the dynamic fee. The protocol fee, this is 5% of the dynamic fee. So the higher this number goes, the higher this number will go. So you see here, it's a very tiny amount on this. And of course, this is how much it's earned in the last 24 hours. If you look down here at the bottom, the trading volume, you can see how much this is earned or how much volume has run through this pool in the last 24 hours. So a nice little handy chart. And of course, you have pool charts for all of them right here, like we talked about earlier. My particular favorite right now is GMGN. You can see what it looks like. And of course, it's not showing us any data. Neat. Why is that not showing you data? Okay. So yeah, pool chart. Okay. Now up here at the top, you see the current pool price. You can swap that if you'd like. It makes no difference on the pool itself. Total liquidity, how much you've put in there, how much you've claimed. You hover over it and it'll show you how much you've claimed in the two particular tokens. And of course, new feature, you click that and it'll tell you how much you've earned in Sol and how much your liquidity is worth in Sol. We are going to add liquidity by clicking that. And I am going to go half right here. I'm using the autofill button so that it automatically puts that in here. Geeklad mentioned this slider. You'll notice here I'm going to slide this one way or this way, right? So I'm putting in, I've got more USDT than USDC. I've moved that price point. You'll notice that it changed here and here.
Yeah, and actually, HMC, one thing I'd like to show, can you disable the autofill? And let's say we want to open a position with, like, yeah, just like that, like like $10 and then $2 or 10 USDC, 2 USDT, right? And when you first open the position, it's gonna you're not gonna have an even liquidity. So with that slider, man, you slide it down and then you can even out your liquidity. I really, really love that feature. So
yeah,
like when I do that 20% rebalance, that's what I'll do to make sure I get back into an even spot.
Yep. Okay. So now this particular pool, and you guys can follow along if you'd like. I don't need this many, I don't need to cover this much price range. You can see down here, this is all the liquidity within this pool in this specific price range. So this is everybody else's liquidity. And you can see here that most of it is right here. This is where the big focus of it is. And it's kind of in a little curve here. So we can grab this and we can reduce our price range by simply doing this. If you want, you can go even tighter. I mean, price is not going to swing much more than this. You can, of course, also specify the price here. So like if we want to say 99, and it can be a little 8. Yeah, I didn't do what I wanted, but you get the point. You can specify a price here or even a percentage. Say I wanted to go negative 0.08. I can specify that there and it'll modify the bins to do what you want. You're paying attention here to the number of bins. The maximum number of bins is 69 bins. I'm going to refresh the page so it's just a little faster way to show this. $69 bins for a single position is the maximum for any particular one. You will see here the cost details, and this is what I want everybody to make sure that you're paying attention to each and every single time that you are depositing liquidity. I see people who are not paying attention and they spend money that they weren't expecting to. Sol needed to create 1 positions, 0.05. How much of that is refundable? Well, the entire amount. I'm going to click on the cost details to break it down. And they just changed how they do this. They broke down the cost details here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to force it to give me something crazy. Okay. So Sol needed to create 9 positions is this much. And this much is refundable and this much is non-refundable. Well, why is some of that not refundable? Well, the answer to that is because it's having to create bin arrays. And when you are depositing liquidity into a price range where no one has ever deposited liquidity in that specific pool before, it must create bin arrays on the blockchain. Because bin arrays, like pools, cannot be destroyed, that cannot be refunded. So we see here we're paying for 4 new bin arrays. Each new bin array is 0.07 SOL each. So if I was to do this, it would cost me 0.28 SOL to create these 4 bin arrays, to create 585 bins. You'll never get that money back. Now, once the bin arrays are paid for, it's paid for forever and nobody else ever has to pay that again. So the only thing that you're getting back is the money for the position itself, because when you close and withdraw and close your position, it's removing it from the blockchain. Therefore, that blockchain rent is refundable. So I hope that makes sense. And I don't know if there's any particular questions on that. But I'm going to go with here again. This is the part where you guys can follow along. I'm going to go kind of tight here. And I'm going to go into a curve because I think most of the trading is going to happen around here. It's only 0.5 SOL. It's all refundable. So now I'm going to add that liquidity. And there we are. There, my position is created. You can see its price range. And eventually this 24-hour fee over TVL will update. There's a difference between this one up here and this one down here. These two numbers can be different. This one is the one I was talking about earlier. It can be impacted severely by people depositing and removing liquidity into the pool, especially large amounts. Here, this is the 24-hour fee TVL specific to your position. Okay. And then we can look at our position and see how it's doing. We see how much is in there. Again, you can convert that into SOL if you'd like. Right now, it's not getting any trades. This one doesn't move very fast. Hopefully, once we see trades, the unclaimed swap fee will change, and then you can be able to claim it. But now I'm going to show you, you can have more than one position in a pool. And I'm actually going to go one-sided. I'm going to go one-sided here. Let's say I think that the price is going to dump. I want to buy more of it at a lower price. I went into a one-sided bid ask. You don't have to do this part. You can if you'd like. But now I've added a second position. I've got two positions in this particular pool. And there you go. Okay. So now I'm going to show you withdrawal. So you've got a lot of features here with withdrawal. This used to be you could only specify however much you wanted to withdraw. But now they've made it to where you've got a lot more options. You can do a one-sided withdrawal. Let's say I only want to pull out the USDC. You can just leave it at that and click the withdraw button and it'll pull out just that amount, or the USDT. You can also say, I only want to remove this liquidity right here. I've specified it. Even if you have both selected, it's only going to withdraw that. And you can see here how much it's going to withdraw. It's going to withdraw 10.5 USDT or 6.76. You can even say, only give me a chunk of that, right? So that's a cool function that you have with withdrawing liquidity. Now I am going to withdraw 100% of this. I'm going to show you the difference here. Now withdrew that liquidity. The position is empty. There's no liquidity in it. But I didn't get my 0.5 SOL back. 0.05 SOL back. That's because the position wasn't closed. I'll go here and do a withdrawal. I choose withdraw and close position. You can't see my wallet, but I'm getting my 0.05 SOL back. And there we go. This didn't generate any fees, so it's not any fun. Go ahead and close this position. We're all out of this thing. We'll talk about this stuff here in a bit. But that is how that works. Let's see. Is there any? I think you guys have got all the questions here, right? Oh, yep. I see one that I want to cover. Right now. Okay. Someone asked, why is my slippage so high here? So here's a couple options that you have clicking right here. My liquidity slippage, I've got it set to 10%. And the reason that I've got mine set so high is because sometimes I am doing some really degen stuff on tokens that are swinging really wild. And when that's happening, I need a high liquidity slippage. If I've got it set to 1%, and if that token moves in price more than 1% from the time I click add liquidity to it actually landing, it will fail to add it because it say, okay, that's exceeded the liquidity slippage tolerance. So I've got it set to 10 because that's how much I am willing for that to be, right? I'm willing to have that much variance. I know people who set it even higher. What you set it to, it's up to you. In this stablecoin pool, it doesn't matter. It's not moving that much. Of course, you do have the swap slippage. This does not apply to the Jupiter swap. It's got nothing to do with that. All those things are done in here. I'm not going to go over Jupiter swap. This is swap slippage when you are using the swap function in the pool. Most of the time, that's not the way you want to do things, but there it is. The other thing that I'd want to point out, glad made sure that I pointed this out, is here at the top, you can set your priority, global priority fee. So this is the transactions whenever you're adding liquidity, claiming fees, closing positions, all of these things. And this is one of the best ways to do it. Set your priority level to fast and in mixed mode. So you can do priority fee only if you'd like. You can do Jito, like Jito bundles, or you can do a mix. And it submits it with priority fees and Jito bundles, see which one goes through successfully. So it seems like most of the time you're going to have the most success if you set to mixed and fast. If trading is like, if there's a whole lot of volume, or Solana is slow or it's bogged down, then you can start increasing your priority levels. If you're having trouble landing transactions, you can add this, increase this. You can set a max cap. I've got this set to 0.003. You can increase that to whatever you are willing to spend, or you can say exact fee, and that is you will spend this much every single time. And you can totally set this to something absolutely ridiculous if you'd like. Like here, I've set it 0.01 Sol. I will be spending $1.94 for every single transaction that I make. It's not recommended. I wouldn't do this. Yeah, I'm going to set this back. Okay. So anyway,
I set mine even lower. Like, oh man, I got a bunch of zeros in here. I don't even know how many, but basically less than a penny, and you can still get the transactions to land.
Still land them.
Yeah, yeah. As long as there's not congestion, it usually works pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so we got that. Other thing that may help you sometimes if you're running into problems, getting pools to load or things, you can try changing your RPC to any one of these. You just select the one that you want to try. I have a preference for Helios, but it doesn't matter. In times when there's no congestion, it doesn't matter which RPC you use. If you have your own custom RPC that you pay for, you can enter that here. Most people don't do that. The preferred explorer, you can choose any one of these things that you like. SolScan is the default. So whenever you click on a button to show a link, I'll show that. It'll choose SolScan or whatever you choose here. And I'll go ahead and show this. Well, actually, no, I won't. Okay. I lost my train of thought here. Okay. Actually, okay. I'll go ahead and show this here. The notifications. You can have very handy notifications whenever a position is out of range. You just set this up with you come in and you put in wallet, set notifications on. You can set your Telegram, you can set your email, tell it to alert me whenever a position is out of range. It won't tell you if it's out of range at the top or the bottom, but it will just notify you that it's out of range. I use the Telegram. It's easy to set up. I don't have it send me emails because no thank you. But that's set up right through here. And see. Okay. So next we're gonna LP into a volatile DLMM pool, unless there's something else I need to cover. Nope. Okay. We're not gonna choose the nasty coins here. We're gonna choose something a little bit safer. Let's look at Pep-Sol. There's 15 pools. Let's take a look here. We can see 100 bin step and 1%, 200 bin step, 2%, 100 bin step, 2%. These are the three that Meteora is recommending, even though there's 15 other pools. And you can see here, all these down here, these are probably not very good pools. You'll notice that there's no liquidity in them. People have spent money to create these, and they didn't work out for them. This particular one, the 400 bin step, 5%, that was probably used when it first launched, but now people have moved to lower bin step and lower fees. And you can see here, like this particular one here is a great example. This one shows 999%, right? That sounds amazing, right? Well, there's no liquidity in this pool. In the last 24 hours, it earned $532 in fees. So that over nothing, of course, is over 999%. But that's misleading. You enter this pool, you put $100 in, you are not going to be earning that rate. So let's go with the 100 bin step, 1% fee. We see here all these things. I'm going to do a little bit of safety, rug check this just to be sure. And this one, it says it's good. So that's awesome. We see that it's got some dynamic fees. So this thing is a little volatile right now, 2.68. That's awesome. So let's make it. Actually, I already have some money in here and it's out of range. Cool. I'm in profit. All of my money is now turned into SOL. All the PEP that I have sold. That's cool. Now, here's a couple things that you can do. What do I do in this situation? Well, here I'm in positive divergence loss. I can just withdraw, call it a day, take my W. If I think it's going to dip back down, I can leave it here and do that. What you need to be careful though is to not get too greedy. This is what people make the mistake of, is not taking their wins when they should. I'm in what I heard someone once called impermanent profit. I am currently in impermanent profit. If I leave this here and the token dumps and I lose money, then I've just burnt all my profit. But I'm going to go ahead and withdraw this, make my win permanent. Or actually, before I do that, I want to show you guys something. This right here, this little button, if you click this, it'll take you to SoulScan and it'll show you the two transactions associated with that particular position. So there was creating the position and then a transfer here. Okay, those are the signature hash. This is going to be important for you to know later. When you're doing graduation, for the love of God, do not copy this link right here. If you put this link right here into your graduation form, the grader cannot grade it and you will fail. So don't do that. So anyway, I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to close my position. Now we have this handy generate my P&L, but actually I want to view the transaction here and you'll see the difference. So you can see here that I've removed the liquidity, all that neat stuff. Here is the hash right here in SoulScan. Copy that. I want this. Okay. And this is what I would use for my graduation. You can use the opening. We'll talk more about SoulScan in a bit, but you can get that hash immediately from that. You can also find it in your wallet. But anyway, there's a couple different things that I can do here. We're going to get into TA and all of these things later. So I'm going to do something really quick. We have about 30 minutes left. So we can see this particular token. It's running up today. Cool. Okay. It's coming down just a little bit. We see it's pretty close to each other. We've got a net buy, like $200, negative $200. It's bouncing real close to each other, up and down. So I like this. We could go one-sided. We can go two-sided. Let's do a little bit of both, just so you can see. I've already got some PEP, so I don't need to swap for more. It's not very much. But if you need to swap to get some PEP to follow along, go for it. Add liquidity here. I'll go two-sided. This is going to be a tiny position. And I'll just go the full range. Actually, I'm going to mix. Let's go half. Okay. So I've got half of that in there. And then I'm going to do a mix strategy of bid ask, putting the rest of it in like so. So you see we've stacked strategies here. Again, we'll talk more about this tomorrow, but I've got a base layer of spot, and then I've got a layer of bid ask. So boom, there we go. We've got some liquidity in there. It's not very much. This is all just off the fees that I'd earned earlier. And we can already see this is jumping way up. It's going to take a bit for it to settle down. the more volatile this token is, the higher this will go, and the more volume that rolls through here, the higher this will go. But I love seeing this. I've got a 1% base fee, but it's over 2.68 on the dynamic fee. That's awesome. This means this thing is bouncing around and I'm making money. But now I'm going to show you one-sided. Very simple. I'm going to just put in a tiny bit here, 0.3 sol. It'll automatically set it to here. I can move that even further down if I'd like. If I'm wanting to set up something even lower, if I think this could drop way down, I can set up a position much lower if I'd like. But here I'm just going to set it at the bottom of whatever the current price is. And I'm going to set it into a bid ask. This is a common thing that you'll see for people to do. It's like hedging against the token dumping, right? You're hoping to earn a bunch of fees as it comes back down, and then hopefully it'll pump back later. You flip this over and deposit. But anyway, this is a one-sided position. It's that simple. You can see it's out of range at the moment. That's okay. We're going to leave it there. Big question that a lot of people ask is, what do I do when a token is out of range? You have a lot of choices. You can leave the position as is and hope that it comes back into range. And if you think that'll happen, great, leave it there. This is ideal. Ideally, I will want the price to come right back here to the center where I deposited, meaning basically zero impermanent loss. It's really hard to hit that. Or it will hit somewhere up here in the range, or even go all the way, pump all the way out of range. I would like that. That's the dream, right? I turn all my pep into sol because I really only care about sol. So I win, right? The other thing that you can do is you can take the loss, withdraw, and make another position even lower. You're hoping to recoup your losses by earning some fees at a lower spot. It doesn't always happen though. So you need to be careful with that. A lot of people, what they do is they create the second position. Again, they create the second position in hopes that they can earn some fees as it goes down to offset your losses that happened up here. What I particularly like to do in this situation is, say this token has come down, I've earned some fees. I don't compound my fees into this position. I'll compound them up into this higher price position in hopes that the token's pumping and I'm selling the token at a higher price than which I bought it. Again, trading buy low, sell high, right? So that's what we're doing. There we go. Let's see if there's any questions.
There was a question about let me see if I can find it. About as somebody that really needs to better understand the pools, the bin steps. So here it is. So Babylon's saying they don't understand why more smaller bins is preferable to one big bin. I was thinking maybe we could show the 2%, 200 bin step 2% pool and just show the prices. Maybe you can show them kind of side by side.
Sure.
And we can show so basically what happens is with a smaller bin step, you have a finer resolution of prices, right? So if say the price is only moving 1%, right? But if you're in a 200 bin step pool and the price is moving within a 1% range, you're not going to get any volume, right? Because it's only going to get volume in the 200 bin step pool when the price moves more than 2%. So if you can like recenter that.
Oh, well, hold on.
Yeah. So you see right there, the price right now is 389, right? And then the bin right next to it, if we hover over that, you can see it's 396, right? But if you go back to the 1% pool, you would actually have 2 bins for that same range, right? So imagine if you're in a 20 bin step pool, you would have 5 bins in a 1% range. You would have 10 bins in a 2% range. So having the smaller bin step pools tend to grab more volume because there's room for more price movement between the bins, right? In a 2% pool, the price has to move more than 2% before you're going to see any swaps. In a 1% pool, it only needs to move 1% before you see any swaps. I'm sorry, I'm talking about percent instead of bin step. 200 bin step versus 100 bin step, right? So that's why the smaller bin step pools tend to grab more volume, because there's higher resolution, there's more prices that it can move between. In the higher bin step pool, the price has got to move a lot more before it's going to move across bins.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps explain it a little bit better.
And one thing that you will see a lot, particularly in a higher bin step, let me just find a good example of this. Let's see. Nope, not that one. Trying to find something that's not synced. Trying to find a real shitter here. Well, this one's probably not in sync, but there's nothing in it. And it is. Of course, I can't find one right now. But it's a great example. He's talking about how this 400 bin step, it's not getting very much despite the amount of liquidity, because there's such the bin is so wide that it can't move to the next bin until the price moves that far, right? I think I said the same thing.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. I was trying to find some shitter that would show me out of sync here. You got like a token that you know of that's wild right now?
A pool that's out of sync.
What's hot right now? Put the CA in here. Okay. Here we go. Found one. You guys, don't LP this token. But this is great. So we can see here, this is not Jupiter verified. So it's got the little warning sign on here. We can do RUD check, all these things. But here, pool price is different from estimated market price. So the 5% is greater than 5% different than Jupiter's price here, right? So this one is showing 0.0005667. Jupiter's price is 0.000031635. There's two basic reasons why you will see this right here. And the number one reason is because there's not enough liquidity at the current price for it to move. Okay. The other reason is because it's a high bin step and lower bin step pools are getting more trades. So it's not moving until the price moves enough. And basically, this becomes a better price and it gets the trade through arbitration, right? So the price moved enough that it made this high bin step, high fee pool finally attractive and it hits arbitration. So you'll see this and it'll sink and flop. How do you sink? Well, we could probably talk about that later tomorrow. I think we're running out of time here.
I found a duo pool, duo soul that's out of sync. If you want to show it, it's the 80 bin step 5% base fee.
Duo.
Yeah. $85%. The very last one. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. And now here it's got the special button, sync with Jupiter's price. And this is only going to show if there's no liquidity in between the current price and the pool price. You can hit this button to make it sync. It'll cost you a tiny bit of change to do that. But now this particular pool is synced. And if you were to add liquidity into it, it would be at its current price. If it was,
you probably have to pay for new bin steps too.
Yeah, possibly.
Or new bin arrays, I should say. Let's see. No, I guess it actually traded in that range at one point. Nice.
Yeah, it's trading that range. You can sync a pool by putting in teeny tiny amounts. If you don't have that handy sync button, but again, you want to use a very, very small amount of money because it will get arbitration. And like if I was to deposit, say it was out of sync, say this is the current pool price, but the market price was over here. I put this liquidity in here and it will immediately go move and I will lose a whole bunch of money of that because people will sell me all their duo at these better prices, right? So the arbitration would happen. I would lose that money. So if you're needing to sync a pool that way, do tiny bits. But again, usually if a pool is out of sync this way, there's a reason for it. It's probably not a good pool. So I'd avoid those. So we have less than 20 minutes left, so I've got to move on. So we did that already. All right. So on SoulScan, you can put in your wallet address into SoulScan and do a search. And then you have the DeFi activities tab. You click on that and it will show you everything that you've done in your wallet where you've removed liquidity, add liquidity, done a token swap. This is an easy, great way to find your transaction signatures that you've done where you added, removed. It's all in the list right there. And you just click the little button and that will copy that transaction and you can paste that into whatever. So here we go. This is the QR code for today. You want to scan this code and fill in the form. There are 4 questions on there that you will need to fill out. We don't share the answers to questions. You need to do this on your own. They shouldn't be too hard. If you should be able to review this. There may be even some of the answers to some of the questions that we'll cover here in a moment. The roles won't be issued until after the form's close. So please don't come and ask me when roll, because if you ask me when roll, I will know that you were not paying attention in class or that you didn't watch at all. The difference between LP Army Private and LP Army. LP Army Privates are those who have graduated boot camp. We have over 12,000 of those currently. LP Army is given to those who make significant contributions to our community. It's an honor selected by mods. There's only a little over 200 of them. It's not easy to get. There's no specific criteria. There's no form. Yeah, I see Ollie. Yeah, so it's not very specific, but it's a big honor to get that. So, Wind of Blade, no, you don't get LP Army Private if you pass 2 times. It's like going back to high school after you've already graduated. There's nothing additional to earn. If you already have this role, there's no point in filling out the form again. You already have the role. Okay. I'll leave this up just for a second. Again, use Google Lens if you need to, or use your phone. Again, we don't share these forms. The point of boot camp is not the role, it's the education. We will talk about points in just a second. All right, it's just a Google form. Okay. All right, so points. There is no MET token yet. Eventually there will be, and there will be allocations to liquidity providers based off of points earned as shown. There are community tools that can estimate points on the DLMM only. It will not estimate anything for dynamic pools. They are not official. Meme staking and vaults do not earn points. And this question gets asked a lot and people overcomplicate it. It's very simple. 1 point per $1 of TVL per day and 1,000 points per $1 of fees earned per day on all pools. That includes dynamic pools, DLMM, and I've never heard of anyone actually ever using a multi-token pool, but we didn't even talk about them. The LST pools. If it's a pool, it earns points. If it's a farm or a vault or meme staking, it's not earning points. That's it. But everything's being calculated in the background. There's no published end date for points. There's no date set for MET. We haven't even had the discussion. Ben Chow has said that we will decide all of these things together. So those discussions haven't even started. So we don't know when it's going to happen. But you can use the point checkers. There's 2 listed in every pool. GeekLad's profit analysis tool, and of course Metlex. You can use those to get an estimate. Again, it's only an estimate. There's also links to this stimulus proposal in the Bootcamp resources. Okay, so we're just going to take a brief moment to explain the core roles within our Discord. Very top, we have the team. Those guys are listed in green. And next we have our LP Army mods, such as myself, Magica, Photon, GeekLad, and many others. We all have next to our name, LP Army mod. Anyone, we won't DM you. Anyone who does and is posing to be one of us. It's probably not us. There are people off the server who will try to trick you and actually scam you. Verify. We have our LP Army instructors, and of course the LP Army privates, and bootcamp trainees. All of the mods and instructors, we're all volunteers, and we're the community. We're not the team. Okay, so moving on, talking about our Discord channels, just a few of them. General questions, product feedback, DLMM Alpha. You can discuss alpha and fresh degen plays there. Show off your curves channel. It's meant to get info and talk strategy. You can post screenshots in that channel. You don't have to have a role to be able to do that. So if you need to show somebody your problem, you can do it in there. You can show your wins and losses in some channels. The LP Army sharing channel, only people who have the LP Army role, not the LP Army private, only LP Army can post in there. That's where we're putting content, guides, helpful stuff, so you can get some cool information there. And let's see, yeah, you can get answers there. Just chilling is off topic. And of course, report scammers, whatever. I'm going to move on. I'm running out of time. LP chat and alpha channels. So we do have voice channels that you can join anytime. You can share your screen. You can have discussions. Sometimes people get in there and share stuff. There's also the alpha announcements channel. And the voice chat there that Yusuf, one of our instructors and mods, he's been doing some regular events. He announces it in the alpha announcements channel. You can go in there and he may give you some tips, education, may LP something. It's a lot of cool info that you can do. Yeah. Someone's asking about the recording. It's on YouTube now. It's live streaming to YouTube, and when it stops, it'll be on YouTube. And it's also on X. So the Meteora's YouTube channel, as well as X. The StreamYard is also recorded, and you can also rewatch it here. So now it's just question time. Let's see, any other questions? Yep. Where can I check how many total points I've earned so far? So we kind of talked about that. There is no official point checker. On every pool, there is the GeekLad profit analysis tool, as well as the metlex.io tool, which we'll go into more detail on those tools. But those you can enter your wallet and it will give you an estimate. It's not official. Met points, $1 per 1 point per $1 TVL per day, 1,000 points per $1 in fees earned. Let's see. What bin steps concentrate liquidity again? Smaller bin steps. Okay. 6 minutes. GeekLad, was there anything big? There's a question here. Like higher bin step, more concentrated liquidity because it requires stronger movement. So think of it like this. the smaller the bin step, let's say you're talking 69 bins, a 20 bin step pool or a 20 bin step position with 69 bins is going to cover a smaller range than a 200 bin step with 69 bins, right? That's covering a larger range. So if you put one soul into a 20 bin step pool, you've got more soul in a tighter price range than if you had put one soul into a 200 bin step, right? More of that soul is spread out, if that makes sense. Someone says, I've never seen a one bin step. They exist. Go look at stable pools. You'll find them.
Yeah, another way to think about it, again, using the same 200 bin step versus 20 bin step example. One bin in a 200 bin step pool, the range that's going to be the same as the range of 10 bins in a 20 bin step pool, right? So 10 bins in a 20 bin step pool, the price can move across those 10 bins. But in the 200 bin step pool, the price isn't going to move at all. It's going to stay right there in that one bin. And so it's not going to get volume, where that 20 bin step pool across 10 bins is going to get that volume that's basically represented by that single bin in the 200 bin step pool.
Here's someone's asked, the higher the bin, the more time to stay in LP. Yes. So the higher the bin step, the larger of a range you are covering. So it will stay in range, or more likely to stay in range longer, especially like if the token is really moving up and down. So yes, dynamic fees are based on volatility. What if you made a 200 bin step pool but only did one bin? Wouldn't it be more concentrated?
It would actually be identical. If you put one soul in that one bin, it would be the same as putting one soul in 20 bins. I'm sorry, in 10 bins in the 20 bin step pool. It would be exactly equivalent. They would be concentrated the same way. But in the 20 bin step pool, you're going to get more price action. You're going to get more volume.
Yeah. So now this question, we're gonna talk about this tomorrow. We'll cover that tomorrow. I think one question that they were trying to ask you, Glad, is if you did a one bin in, say, a 200 bin step versus one bin in a 20 bin step, which is more concentrated?
Yeah. In that case, then I mean, really, yeah, I guess the 20 bin step would be more concentrated, right? Because you're going to have, it's going to be in one. I mean, I guess really the concentration is the same. But I don't know.
Covering a smaller price range with the 20 bin step.
Yeah.
So it's really more concentrated in that one little spot.
Yeah.
Megalax, I don't know what part you didn't understand. So actually, we're out of time. So what we're going to do actually is here's the bootcamp resources. You can scan this if you'd like. I'll give you a minute to scan that before we end the session. We're going to move to the Discord. If you give us a couple minutes, we'll start up the community town hall stage. You can come in there and ask more of your questions there. Just join the Meteora Discord. If you're not in the Discord now, you need to join that. But we will be there to answer your questions for roughly an hour or so. I'll be there as soon as I can. I need to go to the restroom. But here is the bootcamp resources. Again, feel free to scan that. I appreciate all you guys showing up today. GeekLad, Magica, Photon, thank you so much for your help today. We will see you guys tomorrow, the same time. We're going to end today's stream with a song about the dead DAO community. If you'd like to know more about that, check out that channel in our Discord. And there go. Here we go. We're going to rock.
Explorer, fire in his eyes. Under the ice, he flies surprised. Long forgotten in the pools was more than gold or truth. A hidden power deep within. His journey is about to begin. To shatter the token he must, and form an army from the dust. Now called the great janitor, he has become only the handler. Missing the power inside, the dead army now arise. For this we are bred, to be the army of the dead. Forever it shall be said, I am dead, I am dead. We now spread, wearing the token of the dead. To Jupiter and beyond, the dead token is our bond. Forge ahead in the great booze, using the dead as our tools. For this we are bred, to be the army of the dead. Forever it shall be said, I am dead, I am dead, I am dead. Creating new images of power that echo till the final hour. We are the dead here and now, forever dead, this we avow. From the pieces the janitor shatters, the dead army is all that matters. For this we are bred, to be the army of the dead. Forever it shall be said, I am dead, I am dead, I am dead, I am dead. We are bred to be